Within months, according to officials cited by defense media, Ukraine could field a laser weapon on the front line built to shoot down the small drones that now shape almost every hour of this war. Not a missile, not a machine gun. A beam of light aimed and held on target until it burns through whatever a drone needs to stay in the air. So how does a country at war, short on money and interceptors, end up betting on lasers? RETENTIONCHECKPOINT 030 resolution Ts. That's the question this video actually answers, and the answer starts with a number that's easy to say and hard to sustain: the cost of shooting down a cheap drone with an expensive missile. Here's what's actually known. Ukrainian officials, speaking to defense outlets, say the country has built and tested a laser-based air defense system meant to intercept small reconnaissance and attack drones. Some reports name a domestically built system called Trizub. Test intercepts reportedly happened at ranges of a few kilometers against slow-moving aerial targets. None of this has been independently verified under sustained combat conditions, and officials themselves have been careful to frame it as still moving toward frontline deployment, not already there. Hold on to that distinction. It matters for the rest of this video. I spent a while reading up on how directed energy systems actually work, and one detail kept nagging me. A laser doesn't shoot down anything the way people picture it. It has to sit on a target, unmoving, for a stretch of seconds while an infrared or thermal tracker holds the lock and a beam director makes tiny corrections for wind, vibration, and the drone's own drift. That hold time is called dwell time, and it's the whole ballgame. Long enough, and heat degrades the airframe, the motor, or the electronics until the drone falls. Interrupted, and the drone survives. That single requirement is also the system's biggest constraint. Every country working on this technology runs into the same wall. Fog, heavy rain, dust, and smoke scatter and absorb the beam, sometimes cutting effective range by more than half. A fast, small, erratic target is much harder to hold a lock on than a slow one. And because these are line-of-sight weapons, a laser battery can only engage what its tracker can actually see, which is why every serious program pairs lasers with radar and other sensors instead of fielding them alone. That sounds like it should kill the whole idea. It hasn't, and the reason these programs keep getting funded anyway shows up in the next number, the one every defense budget in this war keeps circling back to. Honestly, what surprises me about this story isn't that Ukraine is trying lasers. It's that anyone would try them mid-war, with stretched industrial capacity and no room for expensive dead ends. That says something about how the economics of this conflict have shifted. The math is simple, and it's why directed energy weapons keep coming up in defense budgets everywhere. A first-person view attack drone can run a few hundred to a couple of $1,000s. A surface-to-air missile built to shoot one down can run tens of thousands, sometimes well over 100,000, depending on the system. Officials in several countries have made the same point in public remarks. You can't keep trading missiles for drones forever and expect the ledger to hold. A laser, once built and powered, fires for the cost of the electricity and the wear on its parts, which is the whole pitch. Unlimited magazine, not cheap missile. Here's what I keep coming back to. The fight over the skies above the front line has turned into a fight over unit economics almost as much as range and speed. RETENTIONCHECKPOINT. Authorial reflection placed after the key context. Whoever can knock down a $1,000 drone for a few dollars instead of a few hundred changes, what a sustained drone campaign actually costs to survive. Ukraine wouldn't be alone in this bet, and the company it's reportedly keeping is worth knowing. Britain's Dragonfire, built with MBDA, has already been demonstrated against aerial targets and is due to reach naval and land service around 2027. The U.S. Army has fielded its own laser systems, a Stryker-mounted 50-kilowatt class weapon called DEM SHORAD, and a separate high-energy laser deployed for base defense in the Middle East, both meant for short-range threats, including drones and rockets. Israel's Rafael has built Iron Beam, a laser meant to work alongside Iron Dome and reportedly closing in on operational use after years of testing against rockets, mortars, and drones. None of these programs claim lasers replace missile defense. They all describe it as a layer added on top, for the cheap, high-volume threats that make missile defense too expensive to sustain alone. And all of them took years longer to reach the field than the early announcements suggested. So where does that leave the reported Ukrainian system? Reportedly close to frontline testing. but reportedly is doing real work in that sentence. A test intercepting controlled conditions isn't the same as holding a beam on a maneuvering drone at night, in wind, under fire. Officials haven't published independent verification, sensor performance figures, or sustained use data, and no outside defense analyst has confirmed combat performance. That gap between announcement and proven battlefield use is exactly where past directed energy claims, from more than one country, have stalled for years at a stretch. Here's the take that'll probably get some pushback. Announcing a laser weapon before it's proven itself in combat isn't dishonest, but it is a form of pressure, aimed as much at morale and at allied defense budgets as at the enemy. That doesn't make the technology fake. It means the announcement and the weapon are two different things, and so far only one of them has actually been demonstrated. Would you trust a headline like this if you were a soldier waiting for it to show up at your position? Or an analyst who's watched similar claims take years to turn into real hardware? There's no clean answer, and that's part of why this story is worth following rather than filing away as settled. What would actually prove this system out isn't another test announcement. It's independent reporting from the front line describing a drone downed by directed energy in real combat, ideally with sensor logs or footage outside analysts can examine, plus a public account of the dwell time, range, and weather limits it ran into in the field. Until that exists, the honest description is a promising, reportedly tested system moving toward deployment, not a proven battlefield weapon. One detail in the reporting stuck with me. No country running one of these programs claims a laser alone would end the drone threat. Every official quoted, whether in Kyiv, London, or Washington, describes it as one tool added to a stack of radars, jammers, and missiles already in use. If Ukraine's laser reaches the front line in the coming months, watch for exactly that framing. Whether it quietly starts showing up in official loss statistics for downed drones, or fades the way earlier directed energy claims sometimes have. We left out a few of the more technical patent and procurement details for time. Say so in the comments if you want that layer and we'll dig into it properly. Follow the sourcing below and judge the claim by what gets independently confirmed next, not by what got announced first.